Okay, I'm gonna talk about my goals for 2026. I know that we're not really technically supposed to like really talk about our goals because we don't want that dopamine rush that comes from talking about your goals and shit like that. But I just wanted to just show out the game plan and what I'm trying to achieve in 2026. And so I can review back in 2026 and people will know that if I'm full of shit or I actually stuck to my word and actually achieve what I set out to. Okay. So here's an executive summary, right? Now, the first thing I noted down was that who do you have to become in order to be deserving of these goals, right? I wanted to visualize like the person that I have to be, all the stress and the pressure that is coming my way, and what am I going to do when things are not going to go my way? Because 9 out of 10 times, most things are not going to go your way, you know what I mean? And when you're trying to build something out from the ground, you just have to understand that it's your first time doing it as well. And you don't actually, like, you have the blueprint that people have done it before you, but you don't actually know how to do it, right? And it's really getting your hands dirty and actually figuring out like who do I have to become in order to be the person that is deserving of a business. All right. So my main priorities for this year is basically get a job that will sponsor me, or basically look for a skilled visa sponsorship. All right. Second will be to get more clients and to scale up the business up to 15K a month. My main goal is basically 100K revenue. If I manage to hit that, I'll be very happy. And I want to be posting regularly around 15 to 20 times a month. So I realized that volume is the biggest lever that I could pull in order to get this priority sorted. Basically, if I apply more jobs, the likelihood of me getting a job would be higher. If I did more outreach, I'll get more clients. If I posted more, the likelihood of me getting more followers would be higher, right? So my goals are basically, I just wanted to stay in Australia after my visa ends, 100K in revenue and 10K in followers, right? And the Bible verse that I had is that Proverbs 16 verse 9, the heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. So for me is that I plan out these goals and whatever I'm trying to achieve, but if God has a different route for me, then I have to trust that route, and no matter how uncomfortable it might be, I will try my best to obey it, okay? And some of the mindsets that I have going into 2026 is that, I want to understand that God has actually empowered me to do all these things. He has placed all these desires in my heart, and I will try my best to meet him in the middle. And obviously consistency is something that I sort of struggle with because it's a very hard thing to be consistent at, especially when you're not seeing the rewards and you're working so hard, right? But I have to understand that if I'm not consistent at all, then I wouldn't even have the opportunity to be exceptional, and that one is just keep trying. It just doesn't matter what happens, just be consistent and just keep trying. Technically the third and the second one is sort of similar, but yeah. So here's my game plan for my goal number 1, right? My route is still very undecided. I would think of like what is the best visa option, consult some migration officers or like some lawyers and shit like that, see what is viable, right? And then if I couldn't, I might just apply for a working holiday visa and stay another year. But this is a more ambiguous goal. I have to pray about it and actually trust God in like where he wants to lead me. So this is one that has been very strong in my mind because I don't like the uncertainty of it. But anyways, I'm just gonna do my best in applying for a job, and looking for any skilled visa. If my freelancing work allows me to actually apply for a skilled visa, I'll have to start looking into that January and actually preparing all the documents and whatever I need to actually apply for these visas, right? Yeah, right. Like regardless of what location I will be in, I'm golden. God's got me. Try your best to apply, surrender it unto God, and be detached from the process. If God calls you back home, you will honor the calling. And I think one thing that is so important is the art of detachment. It's not being attached to a certain country, a certain location, but basically just trusting in God and like understanding that whatever might happen, I still got God, I still got myself, I still got my friends, my family, just be detached from the entire process. That way you wouldn't be too affected from it, My second goal is 100K in revenue. So this is the most fun part, right? Because I understand that it's a very big goal, it's a very hard goal, right? So for me, it's like breaking the goal up into chunks because I always understand that when I have a very big goal that feels almost impossible, right? I want to chunk it down into few smaller goals and to basically just like figure out how I can slowly achieve step by step, because I'm not gonna achieve 100k in revenue in like a month's time. Like, it would be very hard for me to like achieve 100k in like March, you know what I mean? Like, I have to slowly accumulate all this momentum and start building it as like a linear progression, and slightly like just let it build, you know what I mean? So I always copy this quote from Hormozy, you know, basically saying that do so much volume that it will be unreasonable to feel, right? All this while, like, you already know what needs to be done, you know. It's like when you're trying to prepare for an exam, you already know, you like, the main thing is that you just need to study. You just don't know what to study, you just don't know how to study, right? And that's the things that you have to figure out by trial and error, and just like put yourself in that situation. But the main thing is still that you just have to study, right? So for my daily tasks, you know, I want to split my day up into like three big chunks. Basically, first one is promoting myself, basically getting more people to know about me, because when you're starting out, nobody actually knows that you exist. It's very hard. The hardest part about actually building a business when you're starting out is that you want to gain traction, because you have to think about it. Okay, if let's say you have 100 people coming in through your door every month, it doesn't matter if you have a very shitty fulfillment, like, it doesn't matter if you have very bad retention. If people are coming in every month, 100 people are coming in every month, and you know that every month you have 100 people paying you, you're sorted, right? That's why like promotion and like actually running ads and promoting yourself is so important, because if people don't know you exist, people can't pay you. That's why, like, if you want to become a billionaire, you need to exchange your services, your products. You have to let yourself be known so much in order for you to be a billionaire status, right? Next will be 4 hours of servicing, right? Service my clients and like make sure that clients are happy, you know, improve my retention rate, as well as 4 hours of building the next thing. And I broke down the numbers to basically all these processes. Now, obviously, like, if I want to hit 100k in revenue, that's around 8.5k, and I would say that 8.5k is pretty hard, because January and December are normally like very quiet months. So like, you have to, you might have to achieve like 10k a month every month, right? And that's very hard. Okay, so think about it this way. Like, I've actually broken down the numbers as well. Like, if I make 100 cold calls, you know, and if I get my script right and I actually talk to the right prospects the way that I'm talking to them are correct, I might be able to book 2 meetings. If I run $100 in ads, I might be able to get 1 booking meeting. And if I do that and I get a 30% closing rate, you know, so basically I just have to spend $1,000 to get 3 clients, 1,000 calls, and get 6 clients. Now, it's all just a volume game right now. Obviously, these numbers are just projections, but I have to understand that if I don't actually call, and I have to, basically, I just have to start doing all these things in order to understand what are the numbers that I would need to actually input in order to get the output that I desire, right? So basically, I would need a very strong acquisition system. You know, I need to reduce my churn rate, better fulfillment, improve my overall brand image and awareness. You know, shout out one conversions, but I'm thinking if I should rebrand it. I don't know. Yeah, but basically, what I want to achieve is that I want to have a cycle. It's just like a flywheel, right? Basically, I'm servicing people. People are coming in, then and they're referring more people, and it's coming in. You know, so it's like I keep getting more people in, and they keep referring, and they keep, like, you know, staying. So it's like that's how you really build out a business. You know, and service-based businesses are probably one of the easiest businesses, but like you just have to take time to actually scale it up. You know. So this is my Q1 goals, Q2, Q3, Q4. I already have all the projections. And yet, all these are just projections, right? Like, I have to still really work hard towards it, you know. And you know, what are the actionables, what are the mindsets, and I already also have a more detailed business plan in order to like actually understand down to the specifics what I have to be doing. You know, what content I should be posting, how should my messaging be, how should I service my clients, how should I talk to my clients, etc. Right. And my last goal will be influencer in the making. I already have a content planner, you know, and my goal is basically with this whole content thing is just I just want to influence people into thinking that it's actually possible. I understand that a lot of people, you know, it's like you might grow up in like a very, you know, like poor family or like a middle class family. You know, not everyone is privileged enough to like go in a rich family, right? And I realize that with all these poorer or middle class families is that people don't actually think that it's possible. They never actually thought to themselves that, oh shit, this is actually possible. Like, I'm able to get out of this rut. I'm able to get out of poverty, and my situation wouldn't determine like where I am in the future, you know. And now I'm not saying that I came from poverty, or I came from like a sort of like upper middle class family, but I never had the things that, okay, I can't say like, I can't really say that, but it's like I'm pretty blessed. That's what I'm saying. But I still have to understand that there is more to life. You know, there's more in terms of what I can achieve, right? And I want to help the next generation navigate some of the mentality blocks that they would have. You know, just document a journey from figuring life out into actually turning into a success story, because that is my life. I truly believe that God has blessed me with ambition, drive, and like all these things that equip me to become a successful person for His glorification of the kingdom, right? I just have to meet Him in the middle, and I have to understand that, you know, success is not the end all be all, right? Glorifying God is the main thing that I should be doing with whatever I'm trying to do, right? And I hope that being able to influence people in the right direction, you know, will actually help them draw closer to God as well. But yeah, basically, just having a ICP as well. I want to understand like who am I actually talking to, right? So my demographic, you know, basically just talking to people that are similar, like-minded to me, you know, ambitious, but like just trying to figure out life, you know, very deep into personal development, very strong traditional beliefs, you know, trusting God, Christian, just stuff like that. Yeah. But that is my goal with the content, right? I just want to influence people and to document a whole journey into allowing people to believe that it's actually possible. You know, I want to become, you know, because when I looked at Iman Gaji, when I looked at David Goggins, you know, they sparked something inside of me which actually made me believe that it might actually be possible. You know, and I wanna do that same thing for the people around me, the people that will watch my content, and hopefully that turns into something, you know. But my main goal is just I want to influence people into thinking that it is possible. But yeah, that's just basically the gist of it.